everybody out there in the comic book community, and welcome to another episode of Previews Reviews. And today we're going to be talking about a comic book that's outside of the big two comics. I did mention I'd be doing these from time to time, and this time we actually have dialogue, so I'll be able to discuss the pages the way I'd like to, more in detail. This is a comic book that I think a lot of you, this might go under the radar, but this is why I wanted to do this Previews Reviews. I'm glad this preview came out. This is Lord of the Jungle #1. For those of you Tarzan fans, that's exactly what this is. Dynamite Entertainment is the comic publisher that is releasing this. Dynamite has really been coming up in the independents, at least on Midtown Comics. I see they got their own slot now instead of being just thrown in there with all the other indies. Anyway, Lord of the Jungle #1 is written by Arvid Nelson. The internal artwork is by Roberto Castro. I hope I said his last name right. And there are several covers. One is by Alex Ross. One is by Paul Renaud. Another one's by Ryan Sook. And another one is by Lucio Paroli. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. The release date of this comic is January 18, 2012, and the cover price, the actual price, is only $1. For the first issue, guys, Dynamite is only charging you $1, just like all their other #1s that they've been releasing thus far. I'm going to read you a bit of the intro. This was written a bit ago, I guess, and the intro reads as follows. The original Lord of the Jungle returns. If you thought you knew the story, think again. For the first time in 100-year history, the classic Edgar Rice Burroughs story, Tarzan of the Apes, is told uncensored. This series will capture the savagery and action of the original while expanding on with new elements. The story begins in the late 1800s. John Clayton, Lord Greystoke, and his wife, the Lady Alice, are left stranded on a remote African coast. They must fend for themselves in this savage world, and the fact that Lady Alice is pregnant doesn't make things easier. Okay, so from the preview alone, we could tell that it's not going to jump right into Tarzan. We're going to get the backup story. What happened before Tarzan was Tarzan, and throughout the whole time I'm talking about this, you guys are seeing the cover. This is, I believe, the Alex Ross cover. I've known Alex Ross's artwork for a while, so I know I'm almost positive I'm not wrong about this one. So I chose Alex Ross's cover. The cover is beautiful. The other covers are great too, guys. You could check out the other covers. I'll be putting a link to Lord of the Jungle #1. That's on CBR. Once again, that's where I get all my previews from. You could check it out there. You could check out the other covers there. There's a sketch cover. There's a negative cover. There's actually 2 sketch covers, I believe. But this is the cover, and it has Tarzan front and center. Alright, let's go into the comic book itself. Page 1. And it's the Belgian Congo. You see a skeleton of a man. Panel below to the left, you see a skeleton of a woman. And who we believe is Tarzan is sitting right there at the table looking through what looks to be a children's book. So apparently this is taking place in the present. This is Tarzan in the home that his parents had built and died in. We just don't know how they died yet. Since they're retelling everything, we don't know if they died the original way, which I believe they were attacked by an animal, which was a tiger, or if something else happened. Moving on to page 2. Pretty much the same thing. We're still in the present. This is the part that I'm kind of question marking. You see Tarzan at the door on the top panel, then right after that he's gone, and you just see the big splash in the background is the treehouse. My question is, who's the skeleton baby in the cradle? That's what got me going, this is weird. So I'm guessing they're going to explain that baby at some point. Or, I don't know, but that kind of got me questioning, because Tarzan never had a brother. And as far as I believe, Tarzan was the baby. So, kind of leaves you questioning. As you can see, it's Lord of the Jungle at the bottom, and the first story is called The Savage Home. Moving on to page 2. We're now 21 years earlier, where Tarzan isn't born yet. These are his 2 parents, and from what you can read, you're going to have to pause the video because I'm not going to read you what they're saying, but basically you see the parents being left on the island, and we don't understand why. We know they're being left there because something happened on the ship they were on, and the only reason that they weren't killed was because Lord Greystoke saved the guy that is now leaving them. Moving into the next page, the reason why is because this is all connected. I guess these pages are connected. They're basically begging for them to take them to civilization because Lady Alice is pregnant, and something happened on the boat, and the captain was killed because he found out about it. And in the first panel, you see Lord Greystoke swearing on his honor that he would not tell what he saw on the boat. Of course, it didn't work. They left them, and they promised to tell the British Army that they were stranded there. You know that's not going to happen, people. But, that's part of the dialogue. And they leave. And Lady Alice is very distraught. She said, if it was just the 2 of us, I'd be okay with this, but we're not 2, we're 3. And she's like, what do we do now? And the father, being the father he is, he's like, now we work. Moving into the next page, which jumps us 3 weeks later, and this is my question. How was it in the last page, Lady Alice was completely, you couldn't even tell she was pregnant. And then, but then again, it could happen. But beside the point, 3 weeks later, she's a balloon. Well, anyway, we're seeing the beginning stages of the treehouse being created. There's a partial dialogue where Lady Alice is saying that she feels it's a boy. The husband, Lord Greystoke, actually questions, how do you know it, like, he, with a question mark, and she's like, I could just tell, because you've wanted a boy, I know it's a boy. And you can tell he's overjoyed that it's the possibility of that it's a boy. Basically, they're still building. That's the whole point of this page, from what I'm guessing. She's pregnant, she's getting further along, the prediction that it's a boy, and we all know that it is going to be a boy, but it's kind of funny how Lady Alice actually predicted it before it happened. Moving into the next page, we're even further along now, and Lord Greystoke is, the treehouse is fully built now. We can see that off the bat. And you see Lord Greystoke coming into the panels. I had to figure out a way to explain it. And you see him bringing his wife flowers. And then something happens, which then leads us into the last page of the preview, which is Lord Greystoke being attacked by a huge gorilla. And he's yelling at Alice to get inside. And the very last panel we get to see in this preview is something either hitting the gorilla or shooting the gorilla or whatever. We don't know what it is, but we know the gorilla is getting hit. And that's the end of the preview. This book, for the first issue, is going to be $1, guys. I know that this is definitely going under the radar with a lot of people. And I'm telling you guys that this preview made me, it definitely made me feel good that I ordered Lord of the Jungle, because I was questioning it. When it first was announced, I was like, yes, I'm going to get it. And then I was questioning it for a while. I said, you know what? Too much is coming out in the big 2. I'll just forget about it. Then I saw that it was $1, and I said, you know what? Alex Ross, my favorite, one of my favorite artists, does the cover. The book is literally only $1. I'm going to give it a shot. And after reading this preview, I am excited, and I really would like to know what happens next. Now, they did mention John Clayton, We haven't seen John Clayton yet. Maybe John Clayton's the one that's whacking and or shooting this gorilla that we see in the last panel. We don't know that, but we know Clayton's going to play into this somehow. So I'm interested in seeing the origin story being told. Maybe it'll make it more enjoyable when they jump into Tarzan, whenever they do decide to jump into Tarzan. So guys, I hope this preview helped you guys out. And I also hope that now that you guys know about Lord of the Jungle, if it was going under your radar, now it's in front of your radar. Give it a shot. It is only 100 pennies, $1, 4 quarters, 10 dimes, 20 nickels. It's not a lot of money, especially if you count all the expensive comics that are out today. So give it a shot, guys. I think it'll be worth it for you guys. So my opinion is, check this out. This preview made it definitely worth looking into. Alright guys, talk to you soon. Hope you enjoyed the video and I hope this helped you out. Later.